Hello, hello. Welcome to 10 a.m. on Tuesday in Littleton, New Hampshire. You're listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. This is North of Normal. I'm your host, Amanda McKeen. This show is really just an excuse to get to know people better. The people that we wave to when we go to the co-op, the people whose businesses we walk into, the people we've heard about for years but never actually sat down with. Because in small towns, familiarity and understanding are not the same thing. So every week we slow things down a little and make space for honest, human conversations about life, work, community, resilience, and everything in between. We're live every Tuesday from 10 to 11 here at NCCR on Main Street in Littleton. And today I'm so excited to be joined by Marlaina Renton.
Hello.
Hi, Marlaina. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
I'm going to ask you to sit closer to your mic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is that better?
That's way better. Hopefully it's better for our listeners too. So I just want to say for listeners who have been faithfully following along, I just want to thank you for all of your support and understanding in the last couple weeks, because I was just explaining to Marlaina how difficult it's been having Lyme disease, and I'm so thankful we caught it early enough. I'm on medication, but it really messed with my head in a way that I never experienced before, and I'm coming out of the fog just the last couple of days. I've been feeling like myself again, and I'm so grateful. So grateful for all the love and support from our community. People are just like sending words of encouragement and just being kind, being understanding, and that was such a wonderful experience. I'm so glad that my brain worked enough to remember that. And for our listeners, if you were one of the people that sent a note or posted a comment of kindness, I just wanted to thank you for that. I'm glad to be back. I'm so glad I didn't have to cancel today's show, because Marlaina, I'm so excited to, for you to share your story today. I think a lot of people know you because you're the co-owner of Rek-Lis Brewing, and you're so much more than that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Since 2018, it feels like it's everything.
Is that how long you've been around?
Well, I moved here in 2015. But
okay.
Since the minute I moved to Bethlehem, it's been about starting this little teen brewery.
Yeah.
So my life's been pretty wrapped around that. But so I guess the bigger challenge is trying to keep the balance.
Yeah.
And remembering the things that are, make you.
Yeah.
And when you get into a world like this, and you don't know it's going to consume all your time and take your life over,
right?
So anyways, but yeah, that's been me for a long time.
Well, I'm glad you get to be here, because I think that'll kind of balance things out a little bit for you.
Yeah, it is. I know, this is actually this is like coffee talk in the middle of the day. How nice.
It is nice. And I usually like to start out my episodes explaining how I know my guests. This show, if for our new listeners, this show is by invite only. I know, that's a lot of power for one person. But yes, I really wanted to make sure and protect this show and keep it non-promotional. So I make connections with people, and people that I have on my show give me referrals to other people that they know that they think would make great guests. And so that's how this show goes, is just from meeting people and from referrals. It's very organic. I love it. And that way we protect the just the whole premise of the show being real and human and not promotional.
I love it.
Yeah. So Marlaina, I was trying to think, because one of my first memories I mentioned on the Facebook post yesterday is experiencing you and Ian at the Pint House about a year ago at a business after hours that you hosted.
Yes, I remember.
It was a great one. And I think I met you before that, though. I think I met you at Starbucks
Yes.
in Littleton. Do you remember?
Yeah, with Marie.
Yeah, you do remember.
Of course I remember.
Okay.
So, yeah, no. Well, and you're also, you had been connected to Justin, who is a big mountain bike rider, which, you know, if you're attached to a crazy mountain bike rider in your life, they probably have Strava. And if they have Strava, they're always trying to, you know, beat the king of the mountain. And Justin's always at the top. So.
Well, he used to be.
He used to be. At that time, he was.
Yeah.
But also, like, just in a small town, as we know.
Yeah.
Just you see faces, you see posts, you hear talk, and so it was like, you know, when I saw you with Marie, and I just didn't know what you were doing, and so it was awesome to understand more about you and your business and your background.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome. I actually knew, that's funny that you mentioned the mountain biking, because I knew about you before I met you there through Strava. Because Ian, your husband, right?
Right, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He was on the leaderboard, and Justin was, you know, it's talked about. So I was always hearing about who were the contenders for the King of the Mountains, and who was going out and doing what. And like, I think at one point Ian was doing Cannon Mountain like every single day for training.
Well, he did that. Well, a little background.
Oh no.
When I first met Ian, and we had our, like, I'm a West Coast, he's a East Coast person.
Okay.
And it's a very long story, so I'm not going to go into it. But long story short, we fell in love across the country. And then eventually I moved right, and now we always like to joke around. I moved right to be just right. And so now in that time period, he had challenged himself to climb Cannon every day for a year. Or comparable to that vert. Yeah. And he did some fundraising for Adaptive through doing that, but also it was just where he was in his life. His kids were out of the house. He was kind of having, you know, I don't know what you call it. I don't want to say midlife crisis, but he just needed to challenge himself. So, sorry, babe. And he did it. That's the incredible thing about Ian. He did it. Yeah. And it was very inspiring to me. But he used to come out to the West Coast and visit me, and he'd miss like 2 days of hiking. So we would have to, we'd have to make that up. So he'd be picking all the hills that we need to hike. And so he's like, today we're going to do 4,000 vert, or today we're going to do 8,000 vert. And I'm like, okay. So it was amazing how contagious this energy is. But on that note, I think for a long time up until, I think as we get older, seasons for everything, and we start to change why we train and why we work hard for things and where we put our time. So definitely in the last 5 years or so, that's transitioned. Yeah. But up until that point, Ian always went out on his bike, is always training for something.
Yes. Yes. And I remember that, and I don't remember seeing you on Strava, but I remember knowing that you were Ian's wife.
Right. Yeah, and I'd follow him on Strava, but I don't get motivated by those things very well. So
that's actually okay.
And I mean, oddly enough, even though I have a very public life in the business world, my personal life is private. Yeah. And so when I go out in the world, I just don't really like everyone knowing what I'm doing all the time. It's not a big deal. It's just a personal thing, you know? So I look at it as my time to be with myself and to, kind of heal in nature. And that's done for my own purpose, and sharing that is just not something that I've ever been driven by. But I can understand, why everyone has to do what they do, I get it. I get why Ian had to do that. For him, that was a driving force. So. Yeah.
And I recognize that moving through phases of your life, right. I think all the Strava athletes go through different things. Yeah. And
I did have Strava for a little bit. I had it more in my running days, in hiking. So I had to have it right to understand that I don't, it wasn't for me. Right. Yeah. So to be completely transparent. Yeah. I had it for a small amount of time, and then I was like, Then I think I tried to revisit it for a little bit. I was like, no, still don't want it. Still don't care. Good. It's just taking up space on my phone. So. Yes.
I like that. That's inspiring to me.
Yeah.
So I knew of you. I definitely saw Ian around a little bit, and then met you at Starbucks and then saw you at the Pint House.
Yeah.
And you and Ian had stood up to share a little bit about, you know, hosting and your space there at Rek-Lis.
Right.
And I just remember it being so clear how passionate you guys were about what you do. And that resonated for me. You know, I don't think it was about money.
No, it's definitely not.
I don't think it's about money.
No, especially not if you're in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are passionate about it. I mean, we are. And I think our community, our team we have, there's just so many reasons to be passionate about it because of what it's done to our life. It's enriched our life in all the ways that you look at your life and you reflect. And I mean, it sounds kind of dramatic, but if I died tomorrow, I would feel really happy about what I've accomplished and you know, I made an impact in a community, and I did that not by myself. I did that with the help of the community and my team, and you know, I've a deeper relationship with my husband, a deeper relationship with my family, you know, from I don't know, from the beginning to where I am now and how I understand what it's done for me. I'm very proud of it and care about it a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, and super passionate and keeping that passion alive to send it to the next generation so that same impact can keep happening for them, you know? Yeah. So whatever that is, whatever that looks like. Yeah. We don't know yet. So.
Help me understand the beginning for you. So that we can compare, like, because you're saying, like, looking back, you're so proud of this and what you've done. So what did the beginning of your life look like? You were on the West Coast. Like, how did all this happen?
Oh, man. That's a big question.
I know.
I've been a little rebellious and crazy since I was about 16.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, a long story short, I moved out of my house very young, like when I was 16. And there's a lot of, like, personal reasons why that happened. And also I was probably a very difficult teenager. So extraordinarily independent and wanted to pretty much live my life my way. And it wasn't necessarily a naughty way. It was just I wanted to do it my way.
Yeah.
Which if my husband or anyone else that knows me well is listening to this, they'll be like, well, that still seems about the same. That hasn't changed much. But I don't know. I guess I just always have been someone that has an idea or sees something a certain way, it needs to happen a certain way, and I tend to, whether it's for myself personally or for something that somebody else has inspired me, I'm very driven by other people's vision and supporting that too. I mean, ultimately that's what the brewery was about, supporting Ian, but I just kind of have a very colorful mind that'll be like, let's do it this way and do it that way, but I've always also been willing to like back it up with the challenge of like, okay, we can do this, you know, like, because it takes effort, right?
Yeah.
And it takes confidence, and it takes a lot of things when you jump into new type of life, new type of businesses, new type of ideas. You can't be afraid, and you can't be afraid to learn things you don't know, and you can't be afraid to ask for help, and you can't be afraid for the tiredness and the effort that you have to put into it.
Where did all that come from?
I don't know.
You don't?
No, maybe it's one of the things I can thank my parents for.
Oh.
I have no idea. I don't know. Just, I think we have all different kind of creatures on this planet. But, so when I was, what age was I? I moved out at 16, and then around 18, I kind of became, like, part owner of a restaurant.
At 18?
Yeah, it's a long story.
Okay.
And probably got taken advantage of that energy, and that the person that made me part of it probably saw, oh wow, I got a tulip in a field of dandelions, and I'm going to take advantage of that. Yeah. So, and when I look back, that in its own could be a book, that whole story. But they had some very dramatic moments. I went across the country trying to start a franchise. It was honestly, it was like a Chipotle's. It was that concept, and it was started in a college town, Corvallis, Oregon. So I was born in California, and then when I was really young, my parents moved up to Oregon, and so Corvallis, Oregon was pretty much where I grew up. Okay, and that's where OSU is. So this restaurant was on the college campus, and and so at a very young age, I had moved out, and And I had a job. I was working. My first job was McDonald's.
Ooh.
I supported myself off McDonald's. Even back then, though, I did not eat the food. So,
you didn't?
No.
Wow.
Even back then, I was into taking care of myself and health and stuff. So, yeah. And then, man, you're making me go back, and all this stuff is coming to surface. I wasn't living at home. I had my own place. I had a little meager job. At the time, my mom was very connected to my grandparents, and they were both ill. So I would take my mom and I would switch off months in helping take care of my grandparents. My grandpa had open heart surgery, and then my grandma had Parkinson's. So there was a lot of caretaking happen, and my mom didn't have siblings close. So I remember that being, I think, you go back to life and you forget about these little chapters that you have and these things that you do. But I think as you live life and you have to endure and go through other things, like, I think to myself, man, if I didn't go through that, how would I have handled this? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And so I reflect back on my life, on all these little things, and they seem insignificant or annoying as a teenager, or as like, oh my God, why do I have to like help my grandma get in the shower? Like at 17, my brain was like having a struggle with itself, But I reflect, and you get through it and you endure it, and it teaches you human compassion. And then later on in life, you realize, oh, that could be me one day. And I hope someone's willing to help me into the shower.
Right. Right.
So I think all those, like, if I'm going to go backwards into where I am now, and you say, where did that come from? Yeah. I think it's exposure, like just doing things, and some things coming into life where being somewhat of a compassionate human, and having the example, like my mother obviously had compassion for her family, her parents. So I think that was an example, right? And me wanting it taught me about caring, So all that, I think, kind of just became who I am, and and I think at a young age, because I did those things, it was fulfilling. Right, it wasn't fulfilling in the moment, but over time it became fulfilling. Yeah. And so those kind of things become your driving force, And whether you know that you're getting into something because of that, you don't know at the time. That's right. But then you start to understand yourself a little better, as time goes on. Although I'm 50 and I still don't understand myself. you know that saying, the older you get, the less you know? Yeah. I mean, seriously. Totally agree with that. So, yeah. But anyway, so I'm very good at seeing the shiny light and going the wrong direction. So you have to help keep me on course here. Okay.
So one thing as you were talking that kind of struck me was you said that you left home when you were 16. Yeah. But then it sounds like you were still involved with your family. Yeah. So it wasn't like you just got out of there.
No, I just needed to be I literally needed to live my life and take care of my own life the way I needed to. My family had a lot of struggles. My parents had a lot of issues. Yeah. And I think for me to thrive, I had to be out of that. Yeah. And I think they were in such a dark space, I'm going to call it. They couldn't recognize that. Like, they only had the capacity to really be able to handle what they could handle in their lives. And I think also because I was the oldest girl of 3 younger brothers. So I was the oldest. So I was always fairly independent, and actually a lot of tasks were put on me to like take care of my brothers and do that kind of stuff. So I became pretty independent and functional at a very young age of at least taking care of a household and doing all that stuff. So I think my brain was like, well, I can do all this without all the drama. That makes sense. All I need is money. And and I think that they at 16 technically, you have to be emancipated from your parents. That I didn't do anything like that. I just told my parents, I'm going to move out and take care of myself. And they didn't quite know how to handle my strength. We'll call it that. Anyway, to answer that question. Okay. But that's kind of where I think the root of me started. I think I'm not a religious person. But in my younger ages, my grandpa was a big religious influence in our life. We were raised Seventh-day Adventist, and a lot of people, I don't know if they, know what that is. Some people think it's a cult. There has definitely been cults of Seventh-day Adventists, I think around 14, I kind of retracted from that, and I realized some things, and I had some questions that nobody really wanted to answer, and I just kind of decided like, well, this isn't my journey, and but I think if I go back, some of the fundamentals of what I was taught, I think always stuck with me.
Absolutely.
And it's just being an honest person, a kind person,
yeah.
treating people the way you want to be treated, those basic good human things,
yes.
And so, but they were installed at a very young age. And I think the other part of it that was installed is that you're taught those things, but I don't want to say it was like bad things are going to happen to you, but you were taught like the consequence when maybe you don't treat someone kindly.
Fear-based.
Yeah. And it was fear-based somewhat, but also I think I was fortunate because you have people, I would say teachers or pastors in that can be more fear-based. I was fortunate to have very compassionate people in my life, and I think that's what they brought out in it, you know, and they were good at teaching, like, when you do something like this for someone, this is how it makes it feel, like, or, and there was examples. So I think as a young, impressionable brain, like, examples and just, I don't know, better understanding, not just being told you need to do this or this is going to happen. I was lucky because I had the examples of why we do and don't do things. But I don't follow that doctrine at all anymore. I'm not, that's not how I, live my life. But I do appreciate some of the things that came along with it.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think that's good. And I think a lot of people probably can relate to that, myself included.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you got into the restaurant business really early.
Yes.
Have you always been in it?
No, like I said, that was kind of crazy. It was in the chapter of life when I was like 16, 17, helping my mom. And I actually was at the point where I was thinking about like going across the country and living with my aunt in Georgia.
Okay.
I just wanted to jump ship completely, which is very much my nature.
Yeah.
I think my brain said, okay, I'm going to apply for this job, and if I don't get this job, then I'm gonna go to Georgia. And my aunt she was a teacher in Savannah, Georgia. And so I sat down in the job interview, and I didn't care at all about getting it or not, so I was pretty sassy. And I was just like, and I think I even told the person interviewing me that I didn't really want it, but it's just like my last attempt to see if I should be here or not.
Uh-huh.
And then it was like, you're hired. It's like, I remember being so disappointed. But also, it was kind of exciting because I had a lot of ideas for some reason. At a young age, I just had a lot of ideas. And this person started to tap in on those a lot. And he was older. I was younger. So I think that he saw an energy that I had. And he had been in the business for a while. And, I was young, impressionable. I felt like I was doing something great. So, and that was ultimately the person that made me part owner of that business. Okay. But really just used my credit and my clean credit and didn't pay me very much. I learned a lot, but I definitely was a tool in the whole thing. So he didn't take advantage of me any other way. Yeah. But he could have. He was a crazy man. But anyways, it's a crazy story. But that's where my restaurant experience started. Okay. And I did learn a lot. I mean, there were a lot of things just because my brain didn't understand things. Like now if I reflect what I know about running a restaurant to then, I was like, oh, I had no idea we were doing that. Yeah. That's what we were doing. Yeah. So that's where it started. The food world has always kind of been in my life some way. Like my family loved food, like it's always been there. But the restaurant business wasn't really anything that I like sought out. I just happened to be good at those things that were being presented to me. Yeah. And I worked hard. Yeah. That's in the restaurant world. That's kind of goes along with the package. Yeah. So, but then I got completely away from that and got more into the fitness world. And that was my life. What did you do? Before that, oh man, I've been like the butcher, the baker, the canister makers. So it was restaurant world, traveling to open a franchise, that not working out, coming home, regrounding myself, and then getting into the baking world. Because I was like, I got really inspired by baking, and so I really wanted to be a baker. And I got into that for a little bit, And then I met my first husband, and my life, changed. I got married to him, so fairly young. So that was like, was I 21? I think it was 21.
Okay, that's pretty young.
My timeline might be off, but I can't remember anything. And then I got into, I had kids. And I'm not one that, I just was antsy, always had to be doing something. Mm-hmm. So I just happened to be good at designing things and construction and painting things. And so I started I kind of started doing design work for friends on the side. And I had a couple friends that were kind of prominent in the town I was in, and they wanted me like design their nurseries, and they'd come to my house and they would see what I do, and they would, they'd be like, oh, can you do mine? So it kind of just started that way.
It's like interior?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interior design, okay. Yeah. And I also knew how to do the painting part, so a lot of times I'd be like this complete little package.
Yeah.
And so it was working for me from the point of view of being like kind of a stay-at-home mom, but wanting to do something.
Yeah.
I could really finagle the schedule to work for me. And I mean, sometimes I paint in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, but it was fine for me. I was like, ooh, I get a little break. I get to be creative. I get to make a little money.
Yeah.
The funny little story, I made my first paycheck, and I get my first paycheck. I'm like, oh, what am I going to get with this first paycheck? And from Design World, and I bought a miter saw.
Wow.
I know.
Everybody wants one of those.
I know. So I could do my own cornices when I made designs and stuff. So, because I couldn't, so I didn't have to deal with a carpenter or anything like that. So yeah, I'd be like in the garage doing paint samples and building stuff, and my ex-husband would come out and he'd be like, hey, you want something for dinner? I'm like, well, this is a role reversal. Which I love that personally. So everyone can do anything they want. So that was always kind of fun. But yeah, so I got into that world, and I really liked it a lot, but it became pretty big and massive, and we got more into, I kind of pulled away from design, because it was just, Design World is very, it's consuming is the word. Once you open yourself to being a designer for someone, you're kind of you become almost like a psychologist, and you're available. If anyone's a designer out there, you may relate.
I have heard that from another guest on this show.
Yeah, and you get a phone call at 11 p.m. at night. My husband he doesn't want that lamp, and I don't know what to do because it's so perfect. And I get it, right? Because they're hiring someone because they want to make their space a certain way, because it makes them feel a certain way, and so they're. You can't just go I don't have time to talk to you right now, because they're entrusting you to the way they're going to feel when you're done with the project. Yep. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yep.
So that became a lot. So I went more into just the paint. I actually became a paint contractor. And then I would do color consulting. And so if you use me as your color consultant person, and then I brought in, it was me and another lady, my friend Trisha. We were in business together, and so we'd do your paint job. So you get like a free color consultant, and if you use us as your painter.
Sweet.
So I know. So we did that for like 5 years.
Okay.
So yeah, it was pretty. We had big jobs, and we'd get recommended by all the paint stores around. So all the other paint crews would start to be like, you have to start recommending this to those, those two ladies painters. Like, they all didn't want to believe that two ladies could be paint contractors, And I'm not, that was a long time ago. I'm not saying that mentality exists anymore, but it was tough in my area. It was just like, where I was. And so we kind of had to fight for our, stance. We would sometimes, we got passed a lot around, from mom to mom. Because we're two moms coming into your home, and a lot of times when you come in to paint a home, you're invasive, right? You're taking over the whole space. So we just were, and this is where that creative, we were really good. We were like, okay, we're taking over your kitchen, so we're going to order your pizza for your family tonight.
Nice.
So I just think we had a little upper hand in understanding
absolutely
what these clients needed besides just their walls painted. And so that kept us pretty busy. But so that lasted for almost 5 years. And I loved it. I loved it a lot. And then it was to the point where it was just to get over the hump of, we were getting a lot of business. We had to hire a lot of people to come in, and we just couldn't do it ourselves. So at that time in our lives, she had kids, I had kids, they're in that soccer age and all those things. So we both threw the towel in. So,
that must have been hard.
It was a hard decision, because we did build it up and we had a really good reputation. And so, but sometimes you just have to put your priorities, what's most important to you in life. And both of us, family was at the top of the list. So, and it was just not aligning properly. Yeah. So we threw the towel in. But the experience was great. And, from then on, it was more like, great, I have a good skill for myself. Sometimes I would get side jobs. I'd have certain contractors be like, will you please do this job?
Nice. Yeah.
And it was great because at that point, then I could demand and do it how I wanted it and ask for what I wanted for it.
Sweet. So, yeah, that's really nice. Yeah,
so that was great. But once again, it leads into, you never know these things you do when you're going to need all these skills later, So, but that led into, this is how I get into the Ian chapter.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you if you didn't say
it. Am I on track with you enough yet? Or still?
What?
Am I on track still? I'm not seeing the shiny light?
No, you're good.
Am I good? Okay.
Keep going.
All right. I feel like I'm talking a lot.
That's the point.
Okay. So we ended that, and I had bought a house out in the country with my ex-husband, and we had like a mini farm, goats and chickens.
Oh, that sounds nice.
So that had consumed, and we remodeled that house, and it was like my personal project, and it was a good one. And so that consumed my time for a while. And then, of course, that backed off. And then I was like, uh-oh, I have time on my hands.
Yeah.
So Ian's sister is how I met Ian. She, I became acquainted with her because both of our kids and herself were in karate. And so it was my kids' first big karate demo from their karate school. And if you have children out there that have been to a karate demo, you know how that's kind of fun. You get to see all the kids out there do their things, and they go through all the belt levels. Well, they got to the adult level, and Ian's sister was she was doing demos too, because it was, because the whole school participates. And so I saw her out there doing their stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to use a swear word. She's a badass. I was like, I want to do that too. It didn't take long. I came back and I told the kids, hey, I'm going to do karate with you. And I told the karate teacher was Mr. K. I'm like, I'm going to sign up. I said, I think Kelly has convinced me. And she didn't even know that she had convinced me. So I joined karate, and her and I, we just hit it off. We're great friends. So her energy is great, and she's just an amazing human. She decided to get into group fitness coaching, and I've always kind of had fitness in my background, in my back of my life. I've always had that somewhere in a back line. Okay. And it's always been part of my life. And so she started doing that, and she really needed a practice person, right? Someone to just, lead. Yeah. And if you've ever led a group fitness class, your very first class is the most scary thing ever. Especially if it involves, any kind of choreography. You have to stay a beat to the music, and you have to show people like your body's demonstrating how they should move to the beat. Yeah. It's a very intimidating thing. Yeah. So she, I think it was probably for about 6 months, the karate teacher allowed us after hours to go in there, and I just do what she told me to do, and I loved it. It was great. So she did that, and then she started doing it and started having her first classes there. And then she, shortly after that, she was like, why don't you do it too? And then we can have more classes. And I was like, oh, me? No, I don't go in front of people. So I was the teenager in high school that told the teacher, you can just give me an F on that because I'm not going in front of the class. Yeah, I hated going in front of people. Wow. I hate talking in front of people. Like, if you, the first time you met me at the business after hours, the Marlaina in her up to about 35 would have turned bright red, hard start beating, stuttering over all my words. Wow. So she kind of challenged me. This is what's great about Ian's sister, and I think why we hit off really well. She was always really real to me, and wasn't afraid to, to me, a good friend doesn't say the things that always feel good. They say things that are real because they love you. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what are you afraid of? I'm like, well, I'm afraid of what people will think of me. And why do you care about that so much? You're great. Why do you think they're not going to think great things? And I was like, because I think I'm not going to be great. And she's like, well, that's not a good reason. So we had that's in a nutshell conversation, right? Yeah. But it was kind of like the boulder, and it was, I had to fight those fears every time I went in front. So that broke me into my fitness world. And that actually really clicked with me. Like, I found something that kind of brought me into the world of understanding all these things that this compassion and how I care about people, besides like making their environment look pretty or cooking them good food. It was like a new way to make people feel good and to help them. Yeah. And it was pretty awesome. Like, I really liked it. And I started to be way better at it than I ever thought I would be better at anything. So, and even to this day, I feel like it still is like, I look at all the things I've done, it's like my best fit. And
really?
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is coaching. Yeah. And leading people and inspiring them to be their best selves. And honestly, in my role in Rek-Lis, that's kind of what I end up being, you know? So, and you know, doing it by example and doing it by being there and doing it by, you know, going through things with people. So that's where that started. And that was like 2008. Okay. I think it was 2008. And that basically, I built that career. I did that, I built that career up on the West Coast and carried it with me over here to the East Coast. So that was from 2008 to 2018. 10 years. And that's when we started Rek-Lis April 2018. I tried to do both until about June, and then I had to throw the towel on something, and that was quick. Rek-Lis won. Yeah. It was quick. Clearly. Yeah, I was always the early morning coach, and as you know, restaurants have late hours. Yeah. So it was not, the balance was not working, and you know, when you look at where you put all your finances and you've put your biggest high risk in life, it's like, okay, this gets my time. So, yeah. But it was hard. It was a tough one. At that point, I was at RecFit in St. J. Oh. And I think I have every chapter of my fitness career back at home or here, you become part of people's lives, so they're all very endearing to me, and those are relationships I think that will be with me forever, whether I communicate with them or not, but they always will be impactful. And some people I still communicate with, but the St. J one's pretty special because that was like new life, right? Yeah. New chapter. Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things like, all right, well, I did it at home and I had confidence in myself at home. Let's see what I can do, not knowing anybody, having no connections on the other side of the country, except for Ian. Yeah. Which I didn't quite understand how well connected Ian was at the time when I moved, but he is. Yeah. He is and he was. So that first job here at RecFit, actually Joe Fox was the person that hired me, and I'm very grateful to this day for that. Really? Yeah. He saw, he did an interview with me, and I think he saw something, and he kind of followed some of the stuff I was doing on the West Coast, and he was like, "Yep, we're gonna do this." And it was just good timing for them. Good timing. I had multiple skills. I taught all kinds of classes, so I was able to their program was kind of starting up again, so it was just really good timing. So it was kind of cool to have someone have faith in me that had no connection to me at all. Yeah. And brought me in, and the people were amazing, and there's definitely relationships there that, even though I don't see or talk to people very often, they'll always be part of my life and my experience here. So that was pretty cool. It was really hard to stop that. And I did that for, 2015 to 2018. So like 3 years, a little over 3 years, 3.5 years. So you were building relationships through that. Yeah. Yeah, I know. And now I get to, now unfortunately don't see me that much at Rek-Lis because I'm always behind the scenes, but they're, they'll still come down and visit, and you'll be like, we're at Rek-Lis today. And it's like, oh, yay. Meet me for coffee in St. J. Then I'll see you. Yeah. So, but, so that's kind of my fitness chapter of life. And I loved it. But I think to sum it up, getting into the restaurant business and being what Rek-Lis is and where it started from a little shed to what it is now, every skill from even listening to my pastor at church when I was a little kid to my fitness career has been, my design, everything has been applied in this business, and I think to myself, wow, if I didn't go through those things, it would have been something. I just don't know if it would be what it is, and I think Ian would attest to the same thing that, throughout his life, he's done a lot of different things, and those were all, you just use all the tools you have, especially when you don't have experience in something, and you don't have a lot of funding. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So you have to tap into all you have, and it feels good. It feels good to look back and you look and go, oh, we built that. Oh, we did that. It's in the sense of actually building something or that skill. Now, when I say we, that for me is, that word means we as a company and a team. Because, Ian and I started it, but and we have specific skills that we contributed to it, but those skills were assisted and backed up and guided a lot by this team we've had throughout the years.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And you told me, we recently had coffee, and you told me, how many employees do you have?
So year round, we're around like 58,
that's
60. It fluctuates, right? And then, of course, high season, everyone that owns a restaurant here, you go up a little higher.
Yeah.
So we usually add about 10 more to that. And then, it's a challenge. Honestly, that's one of the biggest challenges about having a business in a tourist area is you want to keep people gainfully employed year round. But you have times of the year you don't need as many people. So it's always a yearly challenge.
Yeah.
But we get through it somehow. And sometimes you make decisions based on your hours or how you operate to help keep people employed year round.
Yeah.
But it's not just our challenge. It's everyone that has that kind of business around here.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. So
I'm just trying to imagine what it must be like to guide and oversee and train and coach
it does
that
not
many
happen
people
without a team.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, in the beginning it was more Ian and I would say maybe we helped develop the platform of the kind of company and the way we want people to be trained and be treated. Mm-hmm. But that's been passed on and being done better now by our current management staff and people and our management staff throughout the past. I've always been, I can't really speak for Ian, but I've always been a big believer in you bring people in that are better at than what you do.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do a better job for one, and you're going to learn from them.
Yeah.
So, and those people aren't always available, so you have to dig into your own self deep. Like, okay, I can figure this out. I think I could do this. I think I could teach somebody this, but I got to figure out myself before I teach someone else. But no, we're fortunate with the team we have, and we've had a lot of our leaders on our team now have been with us for a while, and we've kind of all gone through the same thing together. We've all had to learn this together.
Yeah.
And we currently now have some new leadership that is really amazing, that does have some really great skills that are helping us a lot and all, getting to that next level and understanding, learning more. So it seems like a lot when you say that number of employees, and it is a lot, and every manager we have has a lot on their plate, which I still go like, how does this happen? How do you open a business and now you have 11 people that are, salaried, let's say, and then we have managers under them, and they all have more work than they should do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how things get to that point, and you just. But I think it's you don't say no to things, you say yes, and you go, okay, we're going to figure this out, and that's kind of the way we've always approached it.
Yeah.
And also you see, oh wow, if we keep growing and we do this, then we can do this, and when we say we can do this, we can give. We can pay people better. We can give more to the community. We can, it goes along with growth, right? If you stay the same, those opportunities become less and less.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to grow and, see that the grow means opportunity for more than just making money.
Yeah.
That making money can do all kinds of things.
Yes.
That's what that does for you.
It's a good way
having more employees and building. So
yeah.
That's how we look at it.
Yeah.
Everybody's different in their journey. So
yeah, it sounds like you have a very building mentality, growth mentality, and just understanding that discomfort is part of it.
Yeah, probably my weakness and strength. Sometimes it's Ian's he has it too. So we both go back and forth. He'll be like, we're going to do this. And I'm like, didn't you say you want to retire one day? And then I'll be like, we need to do this, and he'll be like, not interested. So but that's where more and more it's our brains are how do we we definitely have prominent people in our business that could take it those ideas into the future, and it becomes more maybe it's not what we want to do, but maybe we should start considering pass those ideas to what could happen in the future. So
I mean, what if there's another you out there that's hey, I'm going to come in and I'm going to I have all these ideas.
Yeah. Well, and it possibly exists on our team even, so we don't know. We've always talked about wanting to be an employee owned company, and we still think of it that way. That can happen in so many different ways, and timing wise it can take a while, so we're not sure we're slowly working on seeing what that next chapter looks like. But it definitely, there's a lot of ways to approach it, and it takes time, and you want to make sure everybody feels secure.
Yeah.
You know? And it's what everybody wants. You know? We have a fairly young team, and so I totally understand, like, in life when you have to try to go do something different, or, you know, like, need to test yourself in other areas. You know, so I don't ever want to make anyone feel trapped. So we have to, but that takes time to get everyone to that point to understand what they need. And we get it. So we'll get there.
Yeah. I'm curious. Wait, when did you say you opened? 2018?
Yep, April 2018.
So did you ever get to a point where you and Ian thought, this isn't going to work?
Oh, yeah. 6 months into it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because, I mean, it was working. Well, I don't mind. I'm very transparent even. We definitely had some support that helped us, but we opened the door with about enough money to get through our first, like, round of paychecks.
Okay.
And, of course, we had debt. And then we had a little angel investor, and it wasn't a ton of money, but for us at that time, it could have been $5 bazillion, you know, but it was enough to, like, you know, get some things paid so we could open the doors, you know, and then that left us with a small amount of cash, and we just kind of looked at each other like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but at least we gave it our all, you know, so fortunately, we opened the door, and we've been busy ever since, you know, but we had the opposite problem of, like, what have we got ourselves into?
Yeah.
And, oh, my God, like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And that's where I continually go back to the people that managed with us in the beginning, and just that beginning team, and each team has had its chapter, right, and their challenges. And it's because we've grown this whole time, and we've allowed it to grow, right? We've never put the line, it's like, no, we're just stopping it here. We just like, no, like, let's do this. And every team and every chapter has been willing to go along with that, and they've been excited about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of brought us to, like, where we are. But in the very beginning, I think it's just because you just don't know things, and you don't have the answers, and you don't know how to deal with things, and you're tired, so everything's super exhausting. And you as a couple don't understand how to solve these problems together, right? It's kind of like our baby.
Yeah.
Like, we never had a baby. So we have our own kids from our own marriages, but we never had one together. So, you know, going through these challenges and having some different point of views on what it will take to make it successful, and, you know, like, sometimes having, like, limits, like, no, I'm not going to do that, and the other one, like, well, you have to do that. We're the owners now. So I think just feeding off each other, and I think if we both looked at things the same way, Ian and I, it probably would have failed. But throughout the whole journey, when I was down, he was up. When he was down, I was up. And those opposite feelings and motivations kind of kept each other going. And then what that does is it helps the team around you keep you going. Like, you know, I think one of the challenges of being a leader or owner is you want to be real, and you want to show, like, to me, it's really important to show people that, you know, you're vulnerable and you have weakness, because that means you're real, right? Yes. I remember a good lesson was, I always tried to teach all my classes.
Keep going. I don't know what that was.
Oh, that's all right. I try to keep all my classes, I try to teach them as perfectly as possible, you know, like just have them be super successful, and it's inevitable you're going to mess up, right? Yeah. And sometimes I would mess up. But I would just, like, make a joke out of it and keep going. And I remember one day a lady pulled me aside, and she's like, you know, like, because I think I had a really bad mess up that day, but I just turned it into a joke. And she was like, I like it that you mess up. And I was like, you do? And she's like, yeah, you know, it just shows that you're human, and because everything else you're doing doesn't seem very human, you know, because when you're a fitness coach, it's your job. So your body reflects your job, your habits, your strength. You're doing something all the time that someone's probably doing maybe 2 hours a week, you know, joining your class. So you become this, like, you know, you're like, this person is not real, you know? And so when there's these, and I didn't ever think of it that way until this person had that conversation with me. Their radio's like saying, something's happening. She's talking a lot. We're going to just try to talk through it. That's all right. It doesn't bother me. Okay. I'm used to a lot of background noise. So all right. As long as it's broadcasting the way you want it to. Yeah. Anyway. So I think, I just think, weakness and vulnerability is a important thing. And those things have happened. I mean, you open a business, it's a challenge because it's new, right? I mean, unless it's something you know really well. Like if someone would have told me to open a painting or design business, that would have been easy breezy. I would know how to answer all the questions and know what to do, right? Yeah. But when you get into something you don't know, I think that's where the challenges are.
Yeah.
So for us, that's what it was. And then, everybody had to deal with it around here. Was you throw COVID in the mix.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And especially if you're a new business, I mean, that's it's really challenging. And thank goodness that most businesses in North Country pulled through. Some of us grew during that time. Yeah. So between location and just, I think, a good hearty bunch of people to have a spirit to make things, work out. I think we all got through it. So, and then you just keep growing. You throw in all kinds of challenges that would make you want to throw the towel in sometimes. And you have those moments. You have those moments where you're in a ball crying and you're like, ah! But it's also, I think we talked about this at the coffee shop, that I think for the first time, both Ian and I think where this is our kind of desert island challenge, right? I think of it that way because you're put into something and basically as it grows, you're responsible for people's livelihoods, right? And for this, and then you get integrated into community, so you feel very responsible. Yeah. And my past life, maybe a lot of us can relate to this. You don't like a job, you're not happy, you move on, right? And I mean, completely honest and transparent. There are times in the restaurant business where I don't like what I'm doing, Yeah. And in the beginning, when you're tired and you don't have very much money and you don't like what you're doing, you're like, what am I doing? But we couldn't run away from it. Yeah. And not being able to run away with it or shut the door on it, it forced us to face those things that we didn't like about ourselves or that were obstacles that normally we I don't want to overcome that, but we had to figure out how to overcome those things and also being vulnerable enough to say we need help doing this or we can't do this without a team. Yeah. And we're the kind of people that need more managers, we're not going to do it all. So we learned a lot, in that to me has been I learned it's my desert island experience of okay, yeah, I can build a fire, I can build a shelter, totally different, but it kind of has brought that same confidence, I think, to Ian and I. Yeah. That, you can get through things and you can help other people get through things. So
I have a question.
Yes.
We have 8 minutes left, and this probably is not a good question to ask with that limited time, but
yeah, now you know how I answer things.
Actually, before I ask my question, it's funny that noise started happening on our headphones while you were talking about making mistakes.
Oh, that's not funny.
I think that was, I don't know, providential.
And we just got through it. No problem.
We did. Okay, here's the question. You and Ian are business partners. Yes. But you're also partners in life.
Yes.
How do you do both of those things at the same time?
It's been a journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's taken us probably what we've been open for 8 years. It's probably taken us 6 years to not have an argument twice a week about something. Yeah. And sometimes really passionate arguments. Yeah. And sometimes, just being I don't think I can do this with you. I just don't even know how your brain can think about this, and him feeling the same way about me. But I think ultimately you go back to when I'm down, he's up, and he's down, I'm up. And I think the two things that attract Ian and I to each other are probably ultimately the reasons why we get through these things together. And that is just that, he's good at things, I'm good at things, I'm bad at things, he's bad at some things, and we really kind of complement each other in those things. And I think what we have learned how to do is not react in the moment as much, and also not take it personal. Because taking things personal is where it really gets you into trouble. And I can't speak for him, but for me, my thing is when I'm approached by something, in our relationship that has to do with our business, I'll sometimes, he probably doesn't like it, but I'm like, okay, if I was a different business partner and, you know, we weren't like sharing a bed together and a life and paying bills, would you have approached me that way? You know, and you know, so I think we just, and then he has his way of saying things to me that kind of reflect that same, but I can only speak for what I do, he's not here. That put my brain into that same frame of mind, like, okay, yeah, let's think about this in a more reasonable way. And we've just kind of, as we've gone through problems and issues, where they're not so, shocking or feel detrimental anymore. Like, so together we've grown to see that, like, oh yeah, this doesn't mean the end of anything. This is not a big deal.
Because you're comparing it to what you've already been through, right?
And we've been through the experience and we got through it and we learned from it, right? Like, we know what we'll do different in it and we know where we need help, right? Like, we've kind of learned, like, oh, okay, well, you and I cannot solve this together, so we definitely need to get help on this. So yeah, it's not easy, and it's still, you know, I mean, every week, but we've just learned in our own personal communications, when to talk about things, when not, and not to take it personally, and just like, he's good at things, and there's certain things that, for example, I don't go to beer meetings.
Okay.
I don't go to beer meetings because it's just too much of his baby.
Yeah.
And for him, it's like wifey saying he's doing something wrong when if I speak to the beer or certain things, and it's okay. That's okay. It has nothing to do with me. It just has to do with the circumstance of what it is and what it means to him. And I'm just not the right person to make that critique, and that's okay.
There you go.
And he's learned the same thing from me.
Yeah. Good.
There's probably going to be future obstacles, though. So
probably. Most definitely.
Did we do it in 8 minutes?
Oh, we still have half the time.
Oh, wow. 4 minutes.
So do you and Ian have, like, any friends that are in the same kind of situation that are married to each other and to their business?
Yeah, I mean, I think we
Do you have other people
there's people in our community we know that are married and own businesses, you know, and I think, like, I think when you're with those friends, you tend to not want to talk about business, and you tend to like, you get together with them and do the things that, like,
you want to be normal.
Yeah. So I would say that, you know, and there's, I mean, oh man, you know, I can think of different kinds of businesses, and sometimes you're like, oh, my wife does that, or oh, my husband does that, you know, and oh, you remind me of, like, you know, or, you know, like of how we solve the problems, or oh, that's a good idea. So you do that kind of, like, bouncing off each other, and sometimes it's just, you know, in the world of going through stuff, like, you're not the only one going through things. You know, it's like you're in good company.
Helpful.
Yeah, and sometimes it also in the back of your mind, and there's been a couple times in our life that we've probably tapped into advice, like, hey, you do this, you own this kind of business, what would you do? Yeah. You know? Yeah. And like, what's your advice in this world? Yeah. And I definitely, there's a couple couples out there that have been very supportive that way.
That's nice.
And they have a lot of experience, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Nice.
So, yeah.
You and Ian recently took like a whole month and you went away.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was good.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I mean, the thing about me is that I go away on these things, and then I want my whole staff with me. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, they would love this.
That's
you know?
so sweet.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like everyone deserves that, right? I mean, it's taken me a long time in my life to be able to leave for, you know, I'm 50 and to go away somewhere for that long. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity. I think it was needed. You were speaking of your body not doing well in the beginning, Lyme disease, and, you know, like, I had some issues February, March, still kind of dealing with them a little bit, but your health is so important, and sometimes when you do get very busy in life and you go through all the motions, you just kind of get used to, you know, dealing with stuff and ignoring yourself and what your body needs. So I think my body was telling me it's time to rest. So it came at the perfect time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. So yeah, we just hit the road and we got a trailer and traveled around, mostly Utah.
Really?
And Colorado. Anyone out there, if you've never been to Utah, spend some time on Highway 12.
Yeah?
It's so beautiful.
Highway 12.
Yeah.
I went out there.
Southern part of Utah.
Okay. I don't know if I've been there. I went to Zion and Bryce Canyon.
Right. So Bryce Canyon, it's Capitol Reef, Bryce Canyon, Dixie National Forest, Escalante National Monument, all that stuff's all along there.
Okay.
It's so beautiful. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was so awesome. So it was great. Got to go see my child Hannah in New Orleans. We visited Ian's daughter Meg in Houston. So it was good. It was very.
So you went all over the place.
We went all over the place. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was great.
I'm so glad you got to take a break.
Yeah, me too. And I'm so grateful for our team. They did a great job while we were gone. So
yeah, that's important.
They're like, people say, it didn't burn down while you're gone. I was like, no, quite the opposite. If they left it to Ian and I, it would probably burn down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome that you have so much support and you have your team. And I see you guys, hosting a lot of things in the community, supporting your community, providing space for your community. It's really nice to get to know you as a person.
You too, Amanda.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about myself for a while. It's kind of weird.
I know at first you were like, it's a long story, I won't get into it. And I'm like, oh, but we're going to get into it.
You're very good at that. I appreciate it.
Oh, good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here and being transparent. That's what makes this show what it is people that are willing to come and just be like, yeah, this is my story.
Yeah, this is what it is,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Listeners, you have been listening to North of Normal on WZNC LP Bethlehem. This is North Country Community Radio 99.9 FM, and we're streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. Thank you for spending part of your day here with us. I really do believe that conversations like these matter, especially now. Hearing each other honestly reminds us that we're not as alone as we often think we are. If today's episode meant something to you or sparked a thought or reminded you of something in your own life, I would genuinely love to hear about it. You can always reach me at amanda@clearviewadvantage.com. And if you missed part of today's conversation or you want to share it with someone else, past episodes are always available at clearviewadvantage.com/podcast. This has been North of Normal with Amanda McKeen, featuring our guest Marlaina Renton. I'll be back next Tuesday. Actually, that's a lie. I will not be back next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is the day after Memorial Day, and we are going to be taking a break. Yay. So I will be back in 2 weeks. And until then, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay a little north of normal. Thanks, Marlaina.